Alright. Hey guys, welcome to a Dark Tide video. Today we're going to be making a video for... sorry. We're going to be making a video for the Mortis Trials. This is my Ogryn setup that I am bringing in there on a regular basis. And I have not lost a single match on this Ogryn build. It wipes the floor with bosses, as you've seen in the beginning, and that's because of a few bonuses or the buffs you get during the Mortis Trials. The Mortis Trials offer a plethora of different buffs. Some of them are really bad, others are extremely good. I will go over those buffs in the future, uh, but right now I'm just going to show you the build, and later on in the video, I will talk about the buffs in Mortis Trial that you want to pick up. Alright, so first of all, we are using Bully Club Mark 1. Now, the reason why we're using this, and I'll get over that in a second, because a lot of people really like using the Mark 3B. Now, this weapon is good, but there's a reason why we're using the Mark 1 right now, and that's because of its immense single target damage. This is a bossing setup, because in Mortis Trials, sometimes you just get swarmed by bosses, and this just deals with them instantly. And so, the reason why this also is not maxed out is because, well, I'm not filthy rich, I guess, but this setup, like I said, I play in level 5 all the time. Never have I lost a single Mortis Trials, and I'm using something that's not even 500. Even my Kyrios are not like whoop-de-doo. They're just like fucking bottom of the barrel. But on this, we want flak armor and carapace because flak armor enemies are all over the place, and carapace, well, it's bosses. And then we use Thunderous. Thunderous, you hit an enemy, you give them a stack of brittleness. That makes them take more damage. Really, really good. You hit a boss with that a couple times, you hit a normal like crusher, and they're weaker to everything. And you and your teammates can burst down that target. And then we use Skull Crusher. Very, very good. You stagger something, you do more damage. That is the bread and butter of this weapon. You hit it once or twice, it gets staggered, you're doing 10% more damage, and it stacks. So, yeah, it's a pretty good bully club. And then we got the Rumbler. Rumbler has quickly become a staple of the Ogryn for me. I started out playing on the Zealot, or sorry, not the Zealot. I started out playing on the Veteran, and then I went to Zealot, then I went to Ogryn. This thing, I underestimated it because at first I was like, oh, it only has one ammo, and then like you have to reload. But if you build around reloading and lucky shot, which is what I'm doing, this weapon becomes S tier. Oh. But yeah, so what we're using on it is we are using flak armored enemies and unyielding, because unyielding is bosses, obviously, and flak armored enemies are everywhere. And my bad about saying that carapace armor is enemies or bosses. Um, that's like crushers, or not crushers, bulwarks. I'm sorry. But then we use adhesive charge to stick our grenades onto like the bulwarks, because you can shoot your grenade out of bulwark shield and it'll knock its shield out of the way, and then you can finish them up real quick. And also it allows you to stick the grenades to the bosses, which is what you want in this setup. And then shrapnel, the bleed procs whenever the grenade explodes right next to them. Now that pairs perfectly well with the adhesive charge, because that grenade is then blowing up on them, which is then giving them the 4 stacks of bleed. And you'll see how that ramps up in the future when you see some of my gameplay. But yeah, the setup right now is going really well. I don't think I would change anything about these. The only thing that I might change is I might go to the Mark 3B, and I might change some things up in my talent tree. However, This right now with the Mark 1 Bully Club is really good, and it works. It does what it needs to do. Alright, now the curios are a work in progress, but this is what I would say. I would say you want 2 toughness curios, 17, right? And then your third one is kind of a toss-up between one more toughness curio of 17 or 16. It doesn't need to be 17 if you're broke like I am. Um, and then you also might want some stamina. Or if you don't want stamina, maybe get yourself an extra wound. Doesn't matter. And then the perks, I would say toughness, ability, regeneration for all 3 of them. I don't have that. And then the third one, I would say gunners are a big problem usually. So gunners, stamina regeneration because of a certain thing in our skill tree, and maybe tox flamers. I have tox flamers on this just because I'm trying it out, and I'll get back to you guys in the future on that. But yeah, I would say at least 2 toughness curios, maybe 3, and 1 wound curio. And then now we're going to go over the talents. So obviously right here in the middle, these 3 perks are amazing. They are the staples of the Ogryn builds at this point. So the reason why we're not taking this, which is you hit multiple enemies, you regain toughness, is because, well, we're using the Mark 1 Bully Club. So we're only picking up this. So this frees up 1 perk point, which is very useful in this build because we need to substitute some of our other points into making our grenades better for Mortis trials. But smash them, you do damage to 1 enemy, you get toughness back. If it's a heavy attack, you get 15% toughness. If it's light, you get 5. I forgot to go over this one. This is just 30% more damage to bulwarks, crushers, plague ogryns, and reapers, and also those enemies do 30% less damage to you. Plus 25% toughness, the bombs away. Now the reason why we're using bombs away and not any of the other ones is because, well, bombs away, in my opinion, is the best grenade that the Ogryn has. But also in Mortis Trials, it gets a buff. It gets a modifier. Now that modifier is called like big old box of hurt or something like that. And so it adds in every single type of grenade in the game, from the immolation to the smoke to the stun, the frag grenades from the veteran, and the crack grenades from the veteran as well. It has all of those grenades, all those fucking like super crazy, do a shit ton of damage grenades. And it also keeps the grenades that already spawn in with the box whenever you throw it. So that's a lot of grenades. That is a lot. And then we pick up the modifier for it, so it has plus 3 grenades as well. This just makes it to where there's a whole bunch of grenades whenever you throw it, and it will cause a chain reaction that is so large and is so big that grenades can go off forever. It is like stupid good. Stupid good. Like I remember I threw like 3 box of grenades, and I literally didn't see the grenades stop exploding for almost 30 seconds. That's how long it lasted. Like that is a huge amount of time in this game. Um, and then we got toughness damage reduction right here in the operative modifier, and then soften them up. Soften them up, really, really good passive. It is one of the best ones that the Ogryn offers. It doesn't really have much that you need to like go into in order to get to it, because it's generally centered in the middle, and it's either you go left or you go right to get further down. So it's like an S tier skill that you should be picking up at all times. But you hit an enemy with your melee, they take 15% more damage for 5 seconds. That is good, because if you're fighting something that has 100,000 health, you hit it once, 15% less health, basically, because they're weaker, you know? And that's from all attacks. So, like, your teammates do more damage, too. And then we got pumped up, damage reduction, well above 75% stamina. Now that's why I mentioned you might want to have stamina regeneration on your Curio, is because I'm pumped up here. Uh, I don't really think I need to explain why not toughness, but why damage resistance is good. You just take less damage. It's always good. Payback time plus 50% damage for 5 seconds after a successful dodge or being hit by an attack. You're always dodging. You're always being hit in this game. You're going to get this. That's just 15% damage all the time. Keep shooting. Reload speed on an empty clip. We're using the Rumbler. We have one fucking ammo. One bullet that we get to shoot. And then this procs. Really good. You basically reload instantly. 15% toughness. Now we're using Loyal Protector, and the reason why we're not using Point Blank Barrage, well, we're not using Point Blank Barrage because, well, we're using the Rumbler, so. But Loyal Protector, because it has another modifier in Mortis Trials, that whenever you pop it, any enemies that are hit by your taunt AoE, they get lit on fire. And I think it's like 15 stacks, which that's a fucking lot of stacks of flame. Uh, it'll just like insta kill normal enemies, and then like it'll chip down bosses for a little bit. And then we do no pain because toughness replenishment is amazing, and it's one of the staples of the Ogryn rework. And then valuable distraction. Enemies take more damage from all sources just for taunting. You could pick this because you'd get your ability back way faster. This is super good. You just can spam it if you take it, but I'm taking this because in Mortis Trials, it's better to just burst everything down as fast as you can. You don't really need any defensive options if you can just like look at them and annihilate them. Then we got Reload Boost, which again helps the Rumbler. Then we got Ammo Increase, which is amazing. Love ammo stash. Love having more ammo. And then we have Big Boom, so that increases the explosive radius of all of your explosions, which is amazing because, well, we're spamming grenades, and we also have a grenade launcher. Kind of self-explanatory. Fire away. Your explosions apply 1 stack of burn, 2 stacks if at close range, maximum of 8 stacks. That's really good. I don't really need to explain that. They just get lit on fire. They take area damage, or not area damage, but they take damage over time. And then Coward Culling. This will literally make it to where everything is suppressed around you. The explosions go off, they hit the enemies, and you'll just see like groups of enemies just like cowering in fear because they've been suppressed. Because, well, you're an Ogryn, you're a big scary dude shooting a grenade at them. And then we got range damage, and then we're going to go over here first, then more toughness, and then we got Bruiser. This is to make up for the fact that I do not have Go Again. And it's also just really good because, well, it's ability regeneration. Uh, then we have this. This is weapon swap speed. It really helps whenever you're in the middle of combat and you are grouping everything together and you're beating them up in melee, and then you shoot the grenade at your feet. Because that is what you do in this build. You grab them, you pull them to you, and then you shoot the grenades at your feet, and everything dies. We have no pushover. This allows you to stagger things with your push once every 8 seconds. This is extremely, extremely useful. I have saved myself on multiple occasions with this, and it's become a staple as well in Ogryn builds, I think, because of just the sheer utility that it brings to the Ogryn. You can just like push over bulwarks. You can push over crushers as they're about to annihilate one of your teammates, or even annihilate you if you're not like skilled enough with dodging. But yeah, it's really useful. You can push over anything and then just punish them for that. And then No Hurting Friends. No Hurting Friends is another really, really good Ogryn passive. Plus 2.5 strength on damage taken by you or allies in coherency. 5 max stacks, last 10 seconds, plus 15% damage reduction on maximum stacks. That is super fucking good. You get hit 5 times, you already are doing more damage, and then you get damage reduction to your toughness. That is amazing. That is amazing. And then we go here. Pacemaker. Hitting 3 enemies with your grenade launcher will make you reload faster. It's really hard to do that with these grenades. They got a big explosive radius. You have to be like shooting out one dude in order to do that. Like in order to not hit all 3. Um, Reloaded and ready. Plus 15% range damage for 8 seconds on reload. Our reloads are like that. Snap of a finger. They're done. More damage. And then we're using burst limiter override. Now at first you might think, oh, why are we using that? What the hell? That doesn't make any sense. Lucky bullet. If you are experienced with the Ogryn, you already know what this is. But for those who are not, and those who are just starting out playing the Ogryn because of the rework, I will explain it. It has a 15% chance of triggering Lucky Bullet and not consuming ammo when making ranged attacks. In addition, plus 2% range damage on ranged kills. Maximum stacks are 10, and they last for 10 seconds. Now, this is extremely good with the rumbler because you can just spam grenades, whereas usually only shoot one. I've had it to where I shoot 4 times, 4 grenades before I have to reload. The value in that is so good, and I haven't really found anything that matches the value of that, honestly. And it's part of the reason why I say that the Rumbler is one of the best weapons that the Ogryn has, is because of, well, Lucky Bullet. And I think if you're using the Rumbler, you should go for Lucky Bullet because it will make you so powerful. Um, but then we use Back Off. Back Off makes it to where if you get a melee kill, you gain 10% chance to trigger Lucky Bullet on your next shot. That stacks 10 times. That is a 100% chance to trigger Lucky Bullet. That's crazy. That is absolutely ridiculous. And then ability cooldown reduction, 100% ability cooldown reduction for 4 seconds when you trigger Lucky Bullet. And that's happening all the time. So your ability is just up all the time. You can taunt everything. You can kite them to you. You can group them up. Shoot a couple grenades at your feet. Generally, you shoot 2. And boom boom, and they're all dead, and then you hear one of your teammates like, good job, big man, and dopamine makes you feel good. But yeah, that is the setup. I hope you guys enjoy. um, I hope you guys are liking the new game mode. Hope you guys like the new Ogryn rework. I know I'm really late at this point, but I needed to level up the Ogryn, and I also needed to experiment with him and figure out the ins and outs of the Ogryn. But now that I've done that, and now that I have a better understanding, I thought I would make a video on Mortis Trials, as it is one of the easier game modes in the game to pick up and learn. And a lot of newbies are going to be in there because I think for people who are new at the game, I think Mortis Trials is a really good practice for the higher end content. It gets you used to the amount of bullshit that's thrown at you in this game. But that's for another video. That's for another video. We are gonna cut it here, and I'm gonna cut to some gameplay. But I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.